Well, if by minions and monsters you mean minions and one third monsters, then yeah, it's about accurate to what I saw. So I just watched the newest Minions movie, Minions and Monsters, and really quick one run through of this whole Despicable Me franchise that I've seen thus far. First, Despicable Me, the original, really enjoy it. I think it's a really good movie. Despicable Me 2, I think it's even better than the first one. Probably my favorite Illumination movie. Despicable Me 3, liked it when it first came out, but upon like further reflection, I'm kind of like leaning more towards maybe it's not as good as I quite remember it. Despicable Me 4, it's fine. It's another Despicable Me, I guess. The first Minions movie, it's fine. It's a little nice little side thing with like some nice comedy. Minions Rise of Gru, definitely an improvement over the first Minions. I like the subplot with Gru and this other villain mentor, and the Minions subplot learning karate is fine, I guess. Now we have the latest Minions movie, Minions and Monsters, and in terms of what I think of it, yeah, I really like this one. It's not amazing, but I would say it's probably easily the best Minions movie, and I would say it is probably my third favorite piece of Despicable Me media overall, putting it underneath one and two, but above all the other sequels and all the other Minions movies. So, take that for what you will, I guess. I would say that probably I guess I am kind of inclined to like this movie at the start because it's about movies and like how like the magic of not just magic of movies but just how enjoyable it is to make them and just like how some people have this like creative drive and they just feel the need to like tell stories. And yeah, I definitely enjoy pieces of media like that. I really liked the biopic of SNL that, like, yes, was about the craziness of that whole night, but also at the center there was just the drive to create that Lorne Michaels had. And I've enjoyed other pieces of media about like telling stories and making movies. And so yeah, I am going to be kind of inclined to like this movie just based on that in a way, but at the same time, like, I do legit like kind of I like how like I do like how this movie like takes the focus away from those three minions that the first two Minions movies focused on, and is like, let's just give some new minions at this point. Like, let's have this new minion who just loves telling stories, and this other minion who sort of ends up joining him and really wants to like help him just because he really likes the stories that he tells. He's the only one who like gets his vision, and this other minion who's like kind of just there. Which, by the way, it is kind of I do find it interesting how like they actually introduced the idea of like a deaf minion that all the other minions kind of learn their own unique sign language for. I think that's kind of cool and interesting. And I do like, by the way, that when the little monster meets this deaf minion, he immediately knows he's deaf without even being told, and he just starts signing out of nowhere. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny, but I thought it was. Yeah, and I just like these two, sometimes three minions, kind of like just trying to make it in Hollywood and get to put their creative vision out there. I find that very interesting. And there's a lot of funny gags revolving around like classic Hollywood cinema. Like, there were a lot of like references to like old timey like classic movies. I'll definitely go over kids' heads, but they still manage to be pretty funny. And yeah, some of the gags about just like the time period, like how like there's literally just like a newspaper headline at one point that just says Hollywood, everyone's rich. And like, if you know what, like, this takes place in the 1920s, so if you know what is coming, then yeah, that kind of explains why they're putting so much emphasis on that. And it is also, and like, yeah, all the other characters that they meet in Hollywood are pretty, like, I like the director. I feel like they could have easily made him just someone who's like exploiting the minions, just wants to use them for his own personal gain, which it kind of starts as, but like, he genuinely does grow to want to see the main minion. I think James, I think is his name. I'm sorry. There are like a million minions, and like I kind of get some of their. I don't not gonna remember all their names, especially the ones I've literally just met. But yeah, I like how he genuinely does grow to want to see James succeed, and he becomes kind of like a mentor to him. And like it is a little confusing. Like, so the minions kind of speak gibberish, and but everyone can understand them. But at the same time, later on in the movie, when, by the way, another kind of pretty funny like metaphor with classic Hollywood, how they eventually introduced sound, like they start minions start out as silent film stars, but then when sound is introduced, they're like, okay, well now the minions are going to be in, they're going to hear them talk, and like their failure to talk parallels how a lot of silent film stars also couldn't really adapt to like movies with sound where they had to talk. But like again, on film crews when the minions are like saying what to do, everyone understands them. But then when they're actually doing the movies and they're like talking, everyone's like, and they're doing their gibberish. It's like, wait, you're getting the line wrong. What are you doing? It's not just supposed to say. It's like, so wait, so can they understand them or not? It is also a little like, it is funny though how like they're literally like holding up these cue cards for them, and the minions are clearly trying to read them, but they can't because they just speak whatever gibberish language they speak, which is pretty, which is like an amalgamation of like 10 different languages at this point, which is pretty funny. It is, and like there are definitely things you can kind of question, like it's shown that like all the other minions are kind of annoyed by how James and the other minion want to tell stories and make movies, so it's kind of like, well, so why are they even still part of the group? Like they feel like if they really wanted to they could just abandon them, especially this one minion who really does not like them, whose name is literally his name is Dick. Like at one point, someone even calls him Richard. He's like, no, Dick. It's like, but anyway, yeah. So he like, yeah, he's like, seems like he would definitely abandon them in a heartbeat. But like, they keep them around and keep even starring in the movies, which like, okay, it is shown that all the other minions want to do that, but like, it is kind of weird how like they don't, how like they still, like they don't kick them out before it's shown that they can actually make movies, like when they're just trying to find a boss and they keep getting in the way. And like, and they even kind of retcon things from like the first Minions movie. Like in the first Minions movie they find their overalls just on a clothesline, but in this movie they just kind of find the overalls in like a costume shop and decide, yeah, that's what we're all going to wear now. It's like, okay, so which one actually happened and which one didn't happen, which kind of addressed at the end of the movie, but that just raises even more questions, but whatever, I guess. But like, what am I doing? I'm sitting here questioning the internal logic and consistency of a Minions movie. It's like, okay, I don't normally like to say, I just shut up and enjoy it, but like, if you're, but like, this is really the kind of movie where you do just kind of have to like not question, especially this movie. If you take it as its own thing, don't question its like connection to the other Minions and Despicable Me movies. It really, then it's like, it real, you can kind of like treat this as its own thing. Maybe like an alternate history. Like, what if instead of doing what they did in the first Minions movie, they did this instead? They spent 1920s in Hollywood. And yeah, so it is. So then, about an hour into the movie, it suddenly just becomes like, it kind of, once there's these two different movies kind of competing with each other at that point. Like one movie is like continuing from the plot about the minions wanting to make, about the movie maker minion. Now he wants to make a monster movie, so he goes with this little monster to like find these other monsters to make a monster movie. But then there's this other subplot going on with the this all the other minions still trying to find a master. So they find this guy, this like Gort, just Gort or Dort, one of them. Dort, yeah, that's his name. Sorry, Dort at a sci-fi convention, and it's like a robot, and it's basically like a big robot suit, and like he manages to just beat up all these guys outside, making fun of him by complete accident, and they're like, oh, this is gonna be our new master, and like this has like basically nothing to do with the plot of the minions trying to get of James and the other minion trying to get monsters. until the very end where they all of a sudden merge. But like, it's this character is just so weird and entertaining. I can't help but be like, ah, who cares? He's fun. I love it. I really like this guy. Like this is something very consistent where like the minions, the best part of these minions movies is the side characters. And yeah, this guy is a ton of fun, and even kind of gets like a charming romance with this a woman who's trying to get like the women's rights movement, and like she's trying to get the vote, and like so the minions kind of accidentally end up joining the women the movement for women's rights, which is honestly kind of funny. And then like yeah, her and Dort have this like charming romance, and it's like the whole time it's like you don't know if he's like act like at first you're like, okay, well it's obviously a guy in a costume, but as the movie kind of goes on, you do start to legit question, is he actually an alien, or like what's this guy's deal? They and like they do address at the end of the movie, like pretty close to the end, what his actual deal is, and I kind of wish they just kept it ambiguous the entire movie. I think that would have made it more fun if you legit never knew what this guy's deal was, but whatever. I still liked him. And like with the monster subplot, like from the trailer, I kind of thought the little tiny monster would be annoying, but no, he's pretty entertaining, especially when he just decides, because like he's pretty, like he puts on a front for the minions, but like it's pretty clear that like he has something nefarious going on, and he just like does not, and like he's barely even trying to hide it at points, so it's pretty entertaining seeing him like kind of try to like put up a front but not really try, and he's like, and it's anybody else other than the minions could tell he's up to something. And like there are even like points where it's kind of like this is a like the characters are doing things where it's like they're tricking them, and any other character I'd be like, how do you not see that this person's tricking you? But I'm looking at, it's like the minions are stupid or literally stupid, so it's like, okay, I do understand why they would fall for this. It's like, okay, I get it. And yeah, and again, like yeah, like I guess like in terms of the humor, like yeah, it is pretty consistently funny. I think this is probably the hardest I've laughed at like at an Illumination movie in a long time. There are still like kind of the miniony jokes you would expect here and there. Like there's like at least five different parts where the joke is you can see a character's butt, or the minion is a minion's wearing like a thong. There's literally a point where like a Cyclops gets like a giant, essentially Lego piece shoved up his butt. So, there's that. And there's some toilet humor too, but like it's not in it as much as it usually is, or at least it's like in it, like the good jokes definitely overshadow the bad jokes in my opinion. And like the designs of the monsters are pretty fun. Like I like how they managed to make, like in the spell book, the little monster looks like a big Cthulhu type thing, and I like how they managed to take that design and like make it into something cute. And I like the design for the big blob monster that's shown in the trailers. Like they like if it wasn't animated well, it wouldn't look good. But like the fact that it is animated so well, and they get the texture to genuinely look very slimy and gooey, like that makes it like an enjoyable design. And yeah, I guess like the only other thing to like kind of address is that at the end of the movie, they kind like I said earlier, there's a thing at the very end where they kind of sort of address some of the, like, make it even more obvious that this is supposed to be entirely disconnected from the other Minions and Despicable Me movies, but it's kind of like it's confusing as to what exactly is happening or when exactly in the timeline this is supposed to be. It's like, just again, this is the kind of thing we really have to just not think about it and just sort of be like, well, I liked all this other stuff about the movie, so I'm going to focus on that. And like, yeah, I think that is a good sum up. It's like there's some stuff in here that's kind of like that might bother you, like some humor that's not funny, or some like stuff where it's like if you care about the consistency and lore of the Minions, then you'll be like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's weird. That's not consistent. But like, if you just want to see a fun movie about the Minions kind of making movies and also getting sidetracked with this like robot guy at a sci-fi convention, then yeah, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with this. And I'm gonna give Minions and Monsters a B plus. So those are my thoughts on the movie. If you've seen it, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see more reviews like this in the future. And on that note, I will see you next time. Have a great day.